This week looks to be the major week for Bitcoin because the breakout is starting right now here. And on today's update video, I'm going to be going over my price targets, what I think on the charts right now here, the major demand shift that is happening on Bitcoin right now. But I don't want you to get fooled right now here because there are still some charts that are telling us that we're still trading in a downtrend. I'm going to be exactly talking about that, the most important Bitcoin charts, the most important news that happened in the last 24 hours. I'm going to talk about the stock market. I'm gonna talk about the uncertainty in the market right now here and much more about the dollar index and its major correction which we're currently seeing and what historically has always happened whenever we have seen the dollar index dump so significantly. So this will be getting discussed including Ethereum. So don't forget to once again slap on that like button back above 1,000 likes would be highly appreciated, and let me jump straight away in towards the imminent short term on Bitcoin. So first of all, over the course of last weekend we created that CME gap. Ever since Bitcoin is slightly pushing up towards the upside, there's not a lot of things happening. To be honest, if we're zooming out, you can see there's not a lot of price action really happening on the market right now here, but that is really due to the fact that we're still seeing a lot of uncertainty in the market because of the trade war from out the United States of America. Then yesterday we got Argentina president saying that he is ready to sign a new trade deal with the United States of America. Also, we got some huge news that the Trump administration is saying that it may be buying Bitcoin using the tariff revenue. That will be, of course, absolutely insane here. But you have to know the administration of Donald Trump is extremely pro-Bitcoin, and soon we're going to get somewhat of accumulation from the United States of America. So really, that is the thing you should really be paying attention towards. And if I'm going to be looking at the global liquidity right now, guys, you have to understand the bottom is most likely in right now here. And historically, Bitcoin has always followed the global liquidity. And right now, it is forecasted to be absolutely skyrocket towards the upside. So that is absolutely great here. Then also more and more nations like the European Union are right now approaching the United States to make a deal here. And yesterday, Trump and Najib, the president, of course, of El Salvador, met with each other in the White House. And El Salvador is, of course, a big investor in Bitcoin. But yeah, they're probably discussing a lot of things over there. Then the stock market is still in doubt there. Nothing really happening right now here. But the Fed is saying right now rate cuts are coming. And yesterday they also stated that they will remain flexible. And of course, really what the market is right now looking at is to see 4 rate cuts in this year, 2025 here. But like we know, the markets can change very quickly. And if something very bad happens, maybe the consensus is going to shift very quickly. So yeah, the Fed remains to be flexible. That is at least what they stated. So if something bad happens, they're probably going to be doing rate cuts very quickly. But probably if we want to be seeing any rate cuts, there's a lot of pain to be required. Further on, if I'm currently looking at the entire market, we're still seeing that the funding rates remain to be negative on most of the altcoins, but also on Bitcoin. Ultimately, the fear is not so bad anymore in the market, but on the stock market, it clearly still is here. And of course, if we're right now looking at a very interesting chart, which is showcasing us the demand and supply for Bitcoin, there is right now a significant shift here in demand here. Before, we were seeing a lot of sell pressure. Now this sell pressure is really evaporating and it's starting to become buy pressure again here. So this is very great here. We're seeing clearly that the demand of the sellers, they are exhausted right now here, and that we're probably going to be seeing somewhat of a turn up towards the upside again here, because whenever the sellers are exhausted, we just won't go any lower anymore here. So Bitcoin has broken the downward sloping trend line. We are breaking outside of the falling wedge pattern. And of course, if we're looking at the global liquidity, we are right now likely going to be pushing further on towards the upside. And really what I'm looking at right now here is that, of course, if we're looking at Bitcoin, the most important chart, in my opinion, is going to be this chart here with the 3 most important levels. I discussed this in many videos before here. I believe we're still trading in a downtrend since we're still trading below the EMA ribbon and trading below the previous range high in the market. But as soon as we are going to be breaking above the previous range high in the market, we are going to be seeing that next major continuation towards the upside. And then I believe Bitcoin is likely going to be flying all the way back up towards 100,000, maybe 108,000 US dollars. So that is going to be my target where I am currently looking at here. So that is going to be absolutely critical to be understanding right now here. These are the most important levels I am paying attention towards right now here. Further on, I want to be pointing out the fact that currently we are still looking at this major consolidation phase here, which actually we are breaking outside of, but I want you to understand that indeed most of the charts are already breaking out on the daily time frame, but I need to be seeing a confirmation above the previous range high here. Otherwise, I would call this still a fake out on the market. So it is actually a very big coincidence that right now as well we are seeing that previous retest of that high once again here. Historically, this has always meant retail capitulation, and it has marked the bottom. And if you're just looking at the 3-day time frame, zooming in ever so slightly, for me you can clearly already see it. The big resistance in this level is just going to be this high right here. So as soon as we see the confirmation of the break above that level, then I would start to say, okay, now we're probably going to be seeing a bigger reversal in the entire market. But as long as we're not seeing that, I would believe we're still sitting in somewhat of a dangerous zone in the market. Further on, I want to be discussing that right now the trades are still doing absolutely fire. And guys, if you want to be copying any of my longer term trading strategies on Bitcoin or Ethereum, you can currently copy them exactly using these links in the description of today's video. And if you feel like setting up your own trading bots on Pionex, go to the highest link description of today's video, where you can get a free $1,000 by signing up an account to Pionex right now here. And if you press on any of these other trading strategies like the Ethereum or Bitcoin one, guys, you can just copy my exact trading strategies, which basically are set up to accumulate along the way down here and distribute their positions along the way up here. So it's set to be making probably a lot of profit whenever the market is going to be a little bit more volatile. Now it is not so super volatile, but this is very much interesting in my opinion. And it's probably going to be generating a lot of revenue whenever we are going to be seeing that big reversal. Then looking at the dollar index, of course, it is sitting right now at live support. But historically, if we're overlaying the Bitcoin price and the dollar index over each other, we can see that the major Bitcoin bull markets have always happened whenever we have seen the dollar index dump. And that is exactly what is happening right now in the market as well. Then looking at some more alpha charts, we're seeing right now a big shift in the global liquidity, marking and indicating a big shift in the trajectory where the US Federal Reserve is heading towards. It is ultimately a great signal. Bitcoin is still trading in that bull market. We are not seeing signals that the bull market is exhausted or over. Literally 0% of the peak indicators from the bull market has flashed yet here. Whenever these are going to be flashing, I will let you know here, but so far they have not flashed yet here, which is indicating us this is a great opportunity. And if you're looking at Ethereum, looking at where the opportunities lay here, it's usually whenever the market is extremely fearful. You can see the market is extremely fearful right now here, and ultimately that is allowing us a great opportunity. Yesterday we got a decision from the SEC that they're delaying the ETF staking for the ETFs here. And ultimately, whenever this is going to get accepted, I believe the ETF is going to attract a lot of money, and it's going to be sending Ethereum 180 degrees back towards the upside. And you have to understand, BlackRock is already holding about $2 billion worth of of Ethereum. And ultimately, yeah, they are accumulating and they see the opportunity right now happening here. And if you're looking at the volume, guys, the sellers are so exhausted. We're almost seeing no sell pressure anymore, no sell volume at all here. It just shows you the sellers on Ethereum are exhausted. We're also sitting at extreme low levels in the market, and I really do think this is a great range of accumulation for Ethereum. I've been publicly stating that I've been accumulating Ethereum ever since $2,000. I believe this entire region right here is a great zone of accumulation, and a bounce all the way back to $2,500 is already like a 70% move higher, which seems, in my opinion, quite likely to be happening. And yeah, that is really what I'm currently trading at. So extremely excited, looking forward towards it. But anyways, guys, this was it for me in today's update video. If you did learn something from it, subscribe to the channel, slap on that like button, and see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.